Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took inside the Discord as well as the plan going into tomorrow. So this is what we looked like right off of open. We actually ended up gapping down quite a bit today, and the move just got eaten up, and we just kept ripping higher. So right off open, this is what we looked like. You guys already know going into today the market was bullish. Why? Because the 10's above the 50. I went over this in like every single video for the past week because the market has been bullish like the entire last week in like a day or something like that. So the focus has been on the long side the entire time. We knew not to short just because the 10 is above the 50 on the call side. That means we're trying bullish. We're only focused on longs. So right off open, we got this massive candle down, and you can see we ended up losing the 50. That isn't really too significant because we ended up just reclaiming it really quickly. And if you look at the higher time frames, I mean, look at this. We ended up bouncing right off of that 1 hour 50. If you pull up the 2 hour, same thing. We came pretty close to the 2 hour 50 SMA as well. We also had the 4 hour. We didn't even come close to, but if you flip over to the put side now, we actually ended up opening right at this 30-minute 50 on the puts too. So with that higher time frame support on the 1 hour, 30-minute 50 right here off of open, we really had to see the move continue lower for the bulls to lose the trend, because you guys already saw what happened today. The dip just got eaten up, and we had that 1 hour 50, 2 hour 50, 30-minute 50 on puts right off of open. So I wouldn't have been slamming short today at all. Just didn't make sense because we did have this massive resistance here on the 30-minute on the put side, and bears couldn't take it lower, and obviously that ended up resulting in a rejection on the 30-minute, which ended up slamming us back up on this 30-minute 50. We reclaimed it, and then we just trended higher. So how could you have played today on the 0-day chart? If you pull up the 0DT chart, this is where I enter my trades like 90% of the time. Maybe that like other 10% is off of the 30-minute, but most of the time it's always off of the 0DT chart. So if we go here right off of open, obviously we got that big move down. So puts ended up getting a massive spike here at open, and then this just ended up reversing because we had that 30-minute 50, 1 hour 50 on the calls, 2 hour 50 on the calls, stuff like that. So obviously I'm not even taking this cross either way because we did have that 30-minute 50. So even if this did cross, this was a trade I was going to sit out of just because massive resistance on the puts. Just doesn't make sense to go short on this cross. What you want to do, wait for the negative cross, which this never even crossed, so there's really no trade to take from this chart. So this chart really doesn't tell us too much. If we pull up the call side now, this is kind of the more important chart of the day. We ended up getting this cross on the 0-day chart. You guys already know I went over this last couple videos, but the most probable trade, the best setup you could take with the system is the 0DT cross and the direction of the 30-minute trend. 30-minute trend is bullish. Why? Because that 30-minute chart tends above the 50 on the call side, which means we're bullish. So we know the trend is bullish on the 30-minute. So what do we look for? 0DT cross on the call side, and this ended up playing out nicely today. So the chart was definitely a bit funky. Not the cleanest chart in the world, but it did end up working out. You could see right in here, we got this cross. The 50 didn't curl. I'm not exactly sure the time of when this did curl. It might have been this candle right here or this candle. But all I know is when the 50 did curl, let's say it was on this candle, 522 to all the way up to 654, you probably got like 45, 50 points on this cross. And with how much we've been trending, or like how long this trend has been going on, I would be taking your profits at 50 points. I wouldn't really be holding for much more than that. Take your 45, 50 points, 40 to 50 points, whatever you want in between that range, just because this trend is getting a little extended. And once the like bulls or the bears have the trend for like a week plus, it's getting a little extended, and I wouldn't expect such an explosive move because the trend has been going on for so long. So just get your 50 points and pack it up for the day when we do have trend for this long. So this trade ended up playing out nicely. I did take some on this cross. I actually entered on I forget the exact time I entered this at, but I did enter, I think, on this 10 SMA dip. I know the 50 was still down, not the best trade in the world, but I was just kind of using this for my low risk entry. If it broke below the 50, I would have got out. The 30-minute trend was bullish. The 30-minute chart looked really bullish because we did close back above the 10 SMA, I believe. So if we pull up the 30-minute chart here on the calls, at 12:25, where were we at? So yeah, we ended up closing back above the 10 SMA in the calls, and the 50 is sloped up. So that is kind of why I did jump the gun on that entry. The charts looked really bullish. And in the back of my mind, I did think that this is eventually going to come down, but I'm just trading what I see. I know the market's bullish, and we got back up with the 10 SMA. Calls are crossing. I'm taking my chance there, grabbing some long, and I sold for like 70 points, I think, which was a solid move. I didn't call that out in Discord because I was already long on Microsoft as well on calls. So if we go up to Microsoft real quick, I'll show you guys what I saw, but very simple. I gave this out on my Twitter as well for free, so make sure you guys follow over there. The link is in the description, but I've given like 4 or 5, I think like 5 trades, 1 loser, rest were winners. This gave like 45%, and then I got stopped at break even on the rest. But yeah, it was a very, very clean chart. I'm going to show you guys what the exact entry was on this. Because it's kind of hard to see what the actual chart looked like just from this chart. So these contracts went all the way up to 712. I didn't take these. I took the 465s, a little bit out the money. I'm gonna pull up this chart real quick so you guys can see what it actually looked like of my entry on the cross. So I'm gonna whip this around here. This is what it looked like. A very nice looking setup. 10's going above the 50, 10's up super hard, 50's up super hard, and yeah, we grabbed some calls. The 465 calls at 140. Like I said, gave this out on the Twitter, gave this in the private. These went like 45%, and then I got stopped on the rest at break even. So that's usually what I like to do. I'm trying to hold for a little bit bigger of a move. I'm not really trying to scale at 30%. 30 is like the minimum that I would take. If the market's a little choppy, then okay, maybe I'll take some off at 30, but I'm looking for more so in that 40 to 50% range for a trim. Move your stop up, and then after 40-50%, I'm going to look for like 60 to 70% for another trim, and then I'm going to be out most there, and then have some runners going for like 100+%. But that's typically how I do my scales, and yeah, I'm looking for like 40-50%. That's just what how I want to do it, because I know the system gives these type of moves, and 30% is nice, but I'm looking to get that extra leg usually on these trades. So that's how we played Microsoft. Very nice chart. If you look at the other time frames on this thing, you can see 1 hour super bullish, 2 hours super bullish. I don't think there's any other 50 SMAs. Yeah, there's no other 50 SMAs here on the 4 hour or the daily, but very clean looking chart. We played this last week too for like 120%. Contracts didn't move as much just because they are Friday expiration, and then last week on Thursday and Friday we were trading the pretty much 1 to 2 days out contracts since Friday, Friday expiration. We traded it on like Wednesday or Thursday, so it's closer to expiration, so they'll move a bit faster. So these obviously 45% is a very good move. If it was closer to expiration, it obviously would have been up a lot more, but that's a good trade to take. And then I'm pretty sure that was all for today. On the 0-day chart on the calls, there really wasn't anything else for you to take. Actually, yeah, my bad. You could have taken this 50 dip. I'm not going to lie, this chart just looked very funky. I sat out of this. I didn't want to take any more trades. I caught some points on the long, cut Microsoft. I'm not really trying to stick around when I know that the trend is, possibly coming to an end. We've been pretty extended. We've been bullish for like a week and a day, whatever it may be. And, I'm taking my cross and, packing up at that. So I know Colton called this out. I think he got stopped for like 5 to 10 points. Really small loss. So, nothing you could really do there. You just got to limit the risk. He knew, trend possibly ending. This is still a type of trade you could take in a bullish market. So, he tried it. I think it was up like 30 points. Then he got stopped for like 5 to 10 points. So, super small loss on that. Low risk, high reward on it if it kept going. So, yeah, that's what we did today going into tomorrow. Obviously, we know market's still bullish, So, we're going to be looking for a 0-day cross on calls, 50 dip on calls. The same type of trades we've been looking for the last week. If puts cross, look for a negative cross. Like today, even though the cross didn't happen off of open, if it did, you would have played the negative cross off of it, and that would have been a really good setup to take. If we do gap down and the starting minute goes negative, market's going to be neutral. And then from there, I would be open to taking a put cross on the 0-day chart. 50 dip on the... Actually, I'm not sure. What do these higher time frames look like? If we do get that 30-minute chart, yeah, these 50 SMAs are curled up so aggressively. At what, 240? Where's this at? 240. Okay, yeah. If this chart did go negative, I would believe that this is gonna get like the top of the trend, just because I know these like 50 SMAs are sloped up super hard. But we've had this trend for so long. I really wouldn't expect it to hold. Even this 4-hour chart. This 50 is up super hard. If we do come down to that 4-hour, I would imagine we're gonna get some sort of bounce, but obviously nothing's guaranteed. Most of the entries anyways, I'm going to be taking from the 0-day chart. So, we'll just have to see how we open up tomorrow. But again, market's bullish, 0-day cross on calls, 50 dip on calls. If this chart goes negative, we're going to go neutral and most likely take a put cross or a 10 SMA reclaim on puts or a 50 dip on the 0-day chart as well. So honestly, I probably won't even take the 50 dip. If this chart goes negative, I'll probably look for that 10 reclaim just in case, you know, we bounce for some reason from these higher time frames again. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got today. That's what we did. Pretty solid day, nothing too crazy. But yeah, make sure you guys follow the Twitter, link in the description. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. It's where all the trades are shared and all the information on the system is in there if you want to learn. So that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.